House. Once again, appreciate you meeting with us. As promised, we have an offer for you this morning to consider. So if you would allow me to outline it, I'd be happy to do so. So we're going to start with, we'll end up with three bills in this offer. So the first one is we would use House Bill 2787 as the base bill. That is the Guarantee Association bill that we passed in the Senate and you passed in the House. And then we've agreed to put 2810, which was the Guarantee Association for Life and Health, in that. That's the one that came late to us that we didn't get a chance to consider. Makes sense to put it in 2787 and accept that position. The second bill is the base bill would be 356, which is the exam bill. And we would include with that Senate Bill 338, which was the group funded and work comp pools bill. Senate Bill 339, which is the RBC bill. And then we would also like to include Senate Bill 553, which was the electronics records bill that we pootered the prior authorization bill into. And then House Bill 2663 was the title insurance and the real-time payment bill. And then the third bill, we would use Senate Bill 423, which was powers of the commissioner, as the base bill. And we would include House Bill 2715, which was the fee setting bill, House Bill 2530, which is the auto club bill. And then we are willing to put in House Bill 2834, which is moving the state employee health insurance to the insurance commission. We'll end up with two Senate bills and two House bills that are left over.
Mr. Chair, for clarification purposes, may I ask Senate Bill 356, would that be with the House amendments for reasonable and average and reasonable? Is that to include that? Okay, thank you.
Obviously, I'm going to want to talk to my partners about this one, but number one makes perfect sense to me, though I don't, we'll come back to you, but that one is absolutely reasonable to me. I've got no problems there whatsoever. The 553 base bill, I have no problem. And the amendment, after you explained it yesterday, and I, did some review on it. Excuse me. I think that can be acceptable. I don't like it's the process that I didn't care for. That's the issue. The major issue for me was getting the amendment thrown in there, not being able to look at that ahead of time. I think the work that you did on the amendment, though, is good as far as putting it off long enough to match the federal policy coming down. So I feel better about it with that work that you did. So I appreciate that. And it's possible that down the road we're going to see we might get some of this prior authorization squared away a little bit, and there's some hope for that. Now it's going to take a few years, and I get it, but I think it's a step in the right direction. And I'll want to confer, but right now my feeling is pretty positive on bill number 2. And 3, I didn't have any issues with that at all. That works fine for me. But we have just a few minutes and talk about this a minute. Thanks for your patience there, folks. We were pootering around over here. But we have come to a tenuous agreement here regarding 2834 was really, and surprisingly, that would be the sticking point. That's the one that passed the House. You guys hadn't even seen. But odd that that would be the hard part. But if we moved the inaction of that, or the inaction of that until 2026, we're absolutely great with it over here, and all of Bill 3 is perfect. July 1, yeah. Now let's make it July 1, 2026. 2834, just the bill stays exactly the same, except that where it says July 1, 2024, now it says July 1, 2026. Gives us a little time to look at what mechanical manipulations are going to be necessary in order to get that done. And I do appreciate y'all's acceptance of a bill that you hadn't had a chance to see too much of.
Mr. Chairman, I think since it's your bill, I don't know that we have a lot of leverage here on when you
You've
want
got
it
a whole-
enacted, so.
You've got a whole side of the table over there, man.
So we will accept that change. We do need to have a conversation on the effective dates of all the other bills because we did move them back and forth from register to statute book. So
We did.
do you have any problem if we just put them all back to statute book with the exception of 2834?
That's absolutely fine with me. Okay, good. I have one other minor sticking point here on Bill number 2 that you've put together on SB 356. Really did like the average and reasonable phrasing on that. I'm not sure how much of a big difference it makes.
Can you give us?
I was gonna say, can you elaborate on what that entails? I think we had talked about that a little bit.
Sure. Thank you for the question. In committee, the bill originally just said reasonable. And there was some discussion as to whose idea of reasonable are we talking about? And so we went through the Black's Law Dictionary and found that the phrasing average and reasonable is a term that's used often in court and has an actual definition because you can look at similar pricing around it and get get an actual average, so that average and reasonable yields something that can be defined. That was the reasoning behind that. Sure, absolutely.
Or we didn't hear, now we need to add language. I woke up on the right side of the bed today.
It is on. It's on. Yeah. It's working.
It's
All right.
Right.
So, we're good? All right, Mr. Chairman, I think we have an agreement here.
I think we do.
Beautiful.
Let the advisor staff put it together and then run them across the floor and hope for the best.
There's,
Mr. Chair, just for clarity again, the revisor has leeway to make conforming adjustments with language and such.
Certainly is fine with me.
absolutely fine with me, certainly.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Okay. Well, I certainly appreciate your willingness to meet and
And
the
I-
fact that we were able to put a deal together.
I'm glad you woke up on the right side of the
We
bed.
had an extremely successful year.
You did. Thank you.
Thank you.